conference will now be recorded. This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, excellent. Hello, everybody. It is November 13th, 2025, 6:30 p.m. We are in the Town Hall, the planning board meeting room. And this is a regular meeting of the Communications Committee. So with that, here's the call to order, again, 6:30. And the first thing up is the approval of minutes.
Okay, so I sent out minutes yesterday from the last meeting, and in the future, I am gonna try to send it out within a week of the meeting, so there's just more time to process. But those minutes are the minutes from October 23rd. I did not receive any corrections.
Motion to accept the minutes as presented. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I will abstain, I was not there.
Okay, so 301.
301. Okay, so the next item up, I'm actually gonna skip because I watched the meeting last time. I marked your note, although it was after I sent the agenda in. But I'm going to do additional items for discussion, topics not reasonably anticipated by the chair. We're gonna do that next.
I do have something.
Okay.
So I went to town meeting, and at the end of the town meeting, I went up to our town clerk and said, love the QR codes that were posted on the wall for the articles, for the motions, and for Robert's Rule of Orders. There was a little list and there were QR codes, and she said, the communication committee did that, and I didn't know, and I'm not happy. Now, one, I don't remember us ever talking about such a thing as a communication committee. Two, it obviously is not winning us the hearts and minds of the people in town hall by doing these things without communicating it. When we
So,
step into
That
it.
was done by me,
Oh, okay,
and I was told to do it by Steve.
okay. So I got nothing then.
So that's not an us thing.
That is a not us thing, but I think it is worth letting Steve know that, that Terry assumed that this group did it,
Yeah.
and that she was very mad about it.
Well, mad, she didn't say mad, but she said annoyed. Go ahead.
And what's funny is we did them at the main meeting as well.
Okay.
Well, in any case,
All right.
she accused us of doing that, which I thought, oh my God, never mind, we're done.
All
Okay.
right. Anything else? No? Excellent. Moving right along. Next up, public comments. Only person here is Kate, who's in the room. So I think we're good on that. Going once, twice, 3 times. Okay, education training reports from committee members.
I did a training on, holidays and how municipalities handle them.
Interesting.
What's allowed and what's not allowed. It was, the MMA sent it around again, from 2024. Just kind of as a refresher course for everybody going into this holiday season.
Is there a key item from that stood out to you? I'm sorry to throw you
No, it's okay. What really stood out to me and what I was wondering, and I literally just finished it last night, so it's super fresh still, was that there should be a policy in place as to what's allowed and what isn't allowed. And that way, it's not done on like a case-by-case basis, whereas you're referring back to the policy. So there's never any doubt about fairness between organizations.
Interesting.
And jumped out at me as I was like, I don't think we have a policy about that. And I just kind of like made a note to be like, let's ask.
Yeah.
So.
Cool, excellent.
Yeah.
Anything else? No? I don't have any myself, and I have notes from Ed that I will sporadically sprinkle into this meeting. He has nothing under education as well. So quick discussion on quorum and public meetings. So we got somewhat called out for our last meeting that apologize I wasn't here for. I had literally just got into town from a couple days out in Washington, DC. One of those things where I had like all the effort and gumption to get here, and then I got home to the family and was like, oh my God, I'm so tired. So I apologize.
I'm sure be human.
Yeah. I don't miss many of these, but, every once in a while. So I watched the recording, as I said before. We started the meeting before there was a full quorum, which, we've had a lot of back and forth about this, and, I told at one point that, you could start the meeting but not actually deliberate anything, and nothing can be voted on, but everybody can give updates on stuff, and discussions can be had. Technically, I guess, so the town clerk, Terry, called us out on it and said, technically you can't start a meeting without quorum. And that was sort of like our biggest problem, is that, like, just to say that, like, a meeting had begun, that there was a call to meeting. That in itself is sort of a vote and deliberation. Because if people were online, you'd have to do a roll call attendance, right? If everybody's in the same room, it's just, we're all here, we're at quorum, let's get moving.
So if we didn't start the meeting, we were just discussing, just sitting around chatting,
Then we'd be violating, because we,
well, it wouldn't be a quorum, so the question is, was the offense starting the meeting, or was the offense talking about?
So the offense was, it's sort of a little of both, right? The primary offense was starting the meeting without a quorum.
Okay,
I believe technically you can, like, go online and, like, be visible and have discussion, not on, you can't discuss
the
committee
agenda.
issues in the agenda.
Okay, all right.
And it's one of those things where it's like, best case scenario,
Do nothing.
turn on the camera and you just keep saying, we're waiting for people, talk about regular stuff, and then be like, after a few minutes of quorum not being available, just be like, okay, meeting has to be set off until the next time.
Okay.
So I did decide to pull it up in the bylaws while we were talking about it to see what it says,
Yes,
because I figured that's the gold standard, right?
sure.
And it's actually really straightforward. It says, the committee shall not meet or conduct business without the presence of a quorum. Majority of members of the committee shall constitute a quorum.
Oh.
So,
is that our committee or that's like committees?
committees in general,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So my suggestion is, you can have the camera on, you can be here, be present, and just be like, hey, we're running late, we're waiting for people. You might not even need to record, or you do record and you say, this is not a call to meeting, this is just, we're waiting, especially if you know somebody's gonna be like 10 minutes late. If you have no idea and it gets like 15 minutes in, sort of like the college class rules, 15 minutes and you don't have a professor, everybody leaves, I think that's.
15 for full, five for associate.
That's right, yeah. TH, teaching, yeah. So that's sort of, I think, what we should do going forward. And just like the call to meeting, nobody's in trouble, nothing, it's not a big deal, it's just we got corrected on something that was a little confusing. So that's that.
Thank you.
It's nice that our bylaws are so clear, because we looked at the frequently asked questions about open meeting, and it's not nearly as clear as those bylaws, so
Yeah, yeah.
that's good.
AI in Belchertown government updates. So, personally, I had the meeting with, Ed and I and Steve and a whole bunch of people had a meeting with the group from UMass Pitt a while back. We had some decisions on where things were gonna go. And I said, great, that's what we're gonna do. Ed, of course, has done lots of follow-up. I think he spoke about it at the last meeting, that he's making sure that things, stay fresh. So he has been very busy in contacting all kinds of different organizations and such, and trying to get other people involved. So his notes, he has 4 bullet points here, which I'll share with everybody. So one, continuing to keep contact with UMass regarding a workshop on AI in February for town employees. He's had a couple back and forth emails with them just to like confirm and make sure we're still good.
Does that include volunteers? You said employees a moment ago.
So
They call volunteers employees.
yes.
Everyone's considered an employee.
Okay,
Yeah, so it hasn't, I will say it's not fully established, but the idea is definitely to have town employees. At the very least, a representative from every department. And then we would also like to get representatives from all of the different committees, or those that think it would be helpful to be there,
I see.
right? So they'd be invited but optional, right? Because we'd like to fill the room. So the crew at UMass has been holding some internal meetings and are hoping to have an outline up for us soon. Ed has also attempted to contact the governor's Mass AI Hub project, but has not had any success yet. He has emailed them, called them, left messages, and nobody has gotten back to him. So we're seeing what's up with that. And then the AI policy, yes, so that is the one big update for this, is that just this morning, Steve sent the revised AI policy from the town council. We had a meeting with them a little ways back. I think that was covered in the last meeting, where we went over all sorts of things and our feedback with the previous iteration. It is now, we received back a new red line copy and a clean copy and a new a policy around, it's all draft, the draft policy around how to handle the select board or any elected official, because technically elected officials can't be like reprimanded for stuff. So says the town council. So there needs to be extra guidelines on how to use things and how, it really, I haven't read too much into it, and any of the documents I'll have a better report on for the next one, especially after I provide my own feedback to them, but it was around,
So the committee's you're not letting the committee do feedback on this or look at it?
we are going to, I got it this morning.
No, I mean, I just something you said, I thought you, never mind, go ahead.
Oh, no, so the elected officials, there has to be like a guidelines around keeping to the policy, because anything they do could actually put the town into legal trouble. Right, so it like behooves them to not go against the policy, even though they can't be technically reprimanded for these things. So,
So I think it's also worth noting too, is that there is that upcoming webinar on AI governance and compliance for municipalities.
that's right, thank you.
And that's gonna be on November 20th.
Do we need to be invited to that or?
If you'd like to go, I can certainly send it over to you. It's from the Commonwealth that
It's a
they're
Zoom,
putting
it's
it
a
on.
Zoom kind of meeting, right?
Yeah, it is a
Yeah,
Zoom.
yeah.
Yep,
Oh, no, the time on that?
I'd like to know.
you got it.
Okay, and if anybody's interested in that, in the current draft, I can definitely send it around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, excellent.
Seeing as how, they took over Alexa and our job, I want to see what they did.
All right, I will send that before the meeting is up.
Chris, do you mind telling me what Ed's second bullet was, if I missed it?
Yeah. Second bullet was, and I can give you this document at the end of the night.
Okay.
They've been holding some internal meetings, they being the UMass group, the pit team. They've been holding some internal meetings and are hoping to have an outline to us soon.
We don't have a firm date in February for this meeting, right?
No. And I think that's pretty much it. So not a whole lot has moved, but we're looking into different resources and stuff as well. Any questions, comments, anything? Move on to the next thing. Okay. Communication plan. Mark sent around a wonderful tactical plan.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I have it. Any more?
It's much thicker version.
Yeah. Okay,
So I'll put this one away.
I have another one. You get it?
Oh, I think I have one.
Okay.
Do you have an electronic copy to send to a later? So it's
I do.
included?
I have electronic.
This version
Oh,
with
that
the
version.
charts and everything, yeah.
I have.
oh, okay.
Okay, that's all. Okay. So the important thing to say is that we were dog sitting and we had the dog woke up every morning at 5 o'clock. So I'm not sure what I'm going to say. Anyway, I will get to the tactical plan that I gave you in just a second, but first I'd like to discuss some broader questions that would impact the tactical plan. And I'm going to start by saying, well, where does the tactical plan come from? So I think let's go all the way back to our community, Belchertown. And my first question is, do we have a statement of mission, values, and/or vision
For the town or the
for
committee?
the town?
No,
No, that's something that is on my whiteboard that we are working on. We kind of talked about that a
Okay.
little bit in our last meeting
Yeah,
with kind of putting thoughts together on that, but we don't have one yet.
okay, all right. That's important because I would think that the town's strategic plan would come out of that material. And as far as I know, the town's strategic plan is called the community plan. I printed it. It's about 2 inches thick.
Mhm.
And so the question is, has anyone read it? And the problem for us is, well, if no one's read it, then where are we getting information that we would put into a communications plan? The first place certainly would be to look at the town's strategic plan, right? Especially any issues that have to do with communication. So if there is no such plan, or we can't find it, or we're not willing to read it, then we have an interesting problem. So I just wanted to point out that little issue, because I couldn't get past that.
but is there anything on communication in the community plan that exists now?
I don't know, because it's 2 inches thick and I'm not willing to read it.
I'm with you.
So,
Okay.
so
Okay, I'm with
we
you.
And
are,
what,
Hey,
sorry,
Chris,
so I see,
firstly, hi, just got here. But Chris, can you press the button on the owl a couple times until it's following whoever's speaking?
Oh, okay.
There's like one button.
I assume that's the button. Hoping.
Yeah, now it's doing stuff.
Is that doing it?
Yes. Perfect.
Okay, great.
okay,
so your question about communications within the community plan?
right. So and I just wanted to make an addendum to that,
Okay.
to my comments. So let's see. So I had a discussion with Jen and with Steve some months ago. And I said, few people are going to read this. There are too many words, it's too thick, and there's no table of contents. At least I couldn't find one.
Wow.
And so I said, look, could we have some kind of summary document that people, in fact, would be willing to read? And Jen said, well, look, the important thing now is to start work on the plan. We don't want to take the time to write a summary document. And I said, well, okay, that may be right. But on the other hand, people still need to read it. They still need some kind of summary at some point. And then Steve chimed in and he said, yes, going forward, we're going to summarize the plan. So I just wanted to add that, Kate.
So also the plan is gonna be moving onto the website, and it's gonna be an interactive tool.
Mhm.
And you'll be able to go and search through and find where the plan is and how the different actions align with different objectives and goals and how things like interact with each other, and be able to see like the stakeholders, and like if you want to like filter to see like what had to do with the communications committee, like you could do that.
Will I be able to search by term?
I don't know about that yet. We're in the very initial phases of developing this tool.
Okay,
So we've taken the plan and we've put it into an Airtable, and we're kind of flushing it out and cleaning it now. So like we had Pioneer Valley Planning Commission put it into a spreadsheet, but they weren't spreadsheet people. So we had to clean it to put it in an Airtable, and we're further cleaning it now.
I see.
So within the next like 2 or 3 weeks, we should be having a meeting with the designer, Carl, who did that farm map on the website where you can go, the interactive map.
Mhm.
He's working on this tool for us too. And we're gonna have a meeting with Carl, and he's going to, we're gonna tell him what we want to do and to look like and stuff like
Is
that
Carl
too.
Civic Plus?
No, Carl is an independent contractor out of Northampton.
Okay, and what's the date on this plan? Is this current or recent?
We are using the most current community plan for this.
Whatever that might be, okay.
Yeah. So that's a long answer to your question, but knowing to have the ability to search by keyword, that's really good feedback. And yeah, yep.
Terrific. Okay, so because without having an answer to that question, and now we do have a partial answer, which is very helpful, it's hard to know whether we are abstracting from the community strategic plan those things that would impact our committee's strategic plan about communication. So anyway, I raised that issue. So let's see. So I have some logistical questions before I get into the substance of the tactical plan. Question one, who's going from this committee? Who will lead this effort? It could be you, it could be Ed, it could be me, it could be any of us. So, but the project should have a leader because there's a lot to be done there. How do we add new projects to our plan? And if we add them, do we have to then take them to the select board? Is there anybody else who has to see additional projects? And do we have, as a committee, criteria for including projects in that plan? We haven't discussed that yet. And then the question is, who would actually do the work? Who would write up the plan? Who would assign people to the plan and its execution and so forth? Okay. Then one of the questions with respect to the select board is, would we be allowed to add projects to our plan or without approval from the select board? Is it really their plan at the end of the day, or is it our plan? I don't quite understand that. And so we've got to fix some of these issues, address them anyway. Final tactical question is, has the existing communications plan been approved yet? Does it need to be?
The one that's already written, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's been approved by the
Oh, no,
select
it will
board?
need, sorry,
Yeah.
it will need to be, yes.
Okay,
And it has not been approved.
okay. Good, thank you. And moving on.
So you're not really looking for answers, you're just posing questions?
I'm posing questions.
Yeah.
Logistical questions for
Yeah.
a moment. All right. So now to speak to the tactical plan itself, I'll make a series of comments. First, in terms of the characteristics of the plan, I would say this includes most of those that you would see in any tactical plan that derives from the strategic plan. There are any numbers of confirmations and different ways of presenting this information. This is one that I've developed over years and typically use. The way this is divided, as you can see, is there's a goal at the top, and then there's a series of objectives. Those objectives, you can use the word projects similarly. Some of these goals have one objective, one project, others have quite a few, actually. So there's a difference, of course, between tactical and strategic plans. I just want to speak to some of them. Tactical plan is short term. It's typically 1 to 2 years. Strategic plan is generally 3 to 5. The cycle I've used in other places is about 3 years. It seems like institutions are ready to re-engage in about 3 years. In the plan that I gave you, a project leader was assigned to each goal, but not to each project. But you could assign certainly a leader to each project. I've done that in the past. It identifies the audiences for the goal or project. It assigns individuals to teams to execute the project. And the question is, who does that? Would Chris do that, or would the project leader do that? Would the goal leader do that? That's an open question. Who's going to assign people to our teams? It provides estimates of time to execute each step and project. What I haven't done is to include start and stop dates. I moved away from that over time. And the reason I did, of course, is because they change all the time. And so you don't want to have to change, the entire project in response. Now, having said that, if you set up a Gantt chart, if you're using like Microsoft Project, it's a lot easier, but it's still a real pain in the butt. So instead of doing that, I put person hours, which has seemed to work. Let's see. The plan also specifies whether additional resources are needed, very important for us. It identifies risks, as you can see, the likelihood of risks and the impact of those risks and mitigation for those risks. To me, that's one of the most important parts of this project. There was a guy, Larry Bossidy, he used to be the executive vice president of General Electric. When he went in to speak to project managers, the only thing he talked about was risk and risk mitigation. So this, in my view, this is extremely important. You don't have enough money, the project stops. You don't have the right people on the project, again, the project stops. Somebody's doing competing project, up, again, problem, the project may stop. So I hope that we'll look carefully at risks. We ran into this problem when our committee first reformed under Chris, and we were looking at the agreement that was made with the original website provider. There were all kinds of problems there, not the least of which was there wasn't a real contract. It was a signed piece of paper by them, and it was missing all kinds of things that you would expect to have. So I'm just saying that was a risk that should have been considered right up front, and there are certainly others mentioned here. Scope. Let me move now to scope. The question is, do we always produce a tactical plan for every project? And here I would say the following. So in our current communications plan, we have 7 goals. We have about 31 projects, objectives or projects. Some of these projects are already complete and some are in progress. Some won't require, in my view, won't require a tactical plan because they're so simple. And so we need to make some judgments about which ones require and which ones don't. But having said that, I do want to read a statement.
Okay, could I interrupt you real fast?
Please.
On this particular sheet here, did we go through key metrics? I don't understand the key metrics
Sure.
At all.
Sure, happy to speak to that.
Okay.
Okay. And I'll return to that, so just
Gotcha.
keep that. Okay. So the question is, do we do tactical planning for all of our projects or not? And I want to read 2 statements from the Economist of all publications. So here's what it says. First of all, 61% of organizations struggle to fully realize tactical implementation of their strategies. 61%. Then the article goes on to say, and I've read this article, by the way, the article is Why Good Strategies Fail. It was in The Economist 2013. Second point it makes is about 56% of strategic projects are tactically implemented within 3 years. Now, in my experience, strategic plans are generally about 3 years. So that means only about half of the projects are ever implemented. That's astounding, but you see that time and time again in the literature. About 50 to 60% of strategic plans are implemented. And we can do a lot better than that. So I'm used to numbers that are around 80 or 90. And we can do that, but it takes tactical planning to get there. So I just wanted to share that.
So your recommendation is that a tactical plan should be built no matter what?
I would do that. Let's see. I want to move on then to progress reporting. I'm going to get back to the question of metrics but I'm going to go now to progress reporting. So the question is, who are we going to report to? And how often are we going to do that? And what will the reports look like? So I would think that we would want to report regularly to Steve. I'm not sure how we would do that. I'm not sure whether you would do that, Kate, or whether we would do that. I'm not sure how often he wants those reports. That's something we've got to look at. The other issue, of course, is select board. Again, who's going to report to the select board? What would those reports look like? So I want to move to what reports can look like. And that's why I gave you this additional handout. So there are three kinds of reports that people often use. And the first, I go back and turn this page. Let's see. So the first of these is essentially the task plan, right? And this is the most challenging part and the most important part of tactical planning. And sometimes people really want to get into the weeds. They want to understand exactly what you've done, who've done it, who has done it, when, and so forth. And so we can just give them the task plan. That works well. Sometimes we just want to abstract from the tactical plan and we want to present graphs. And I've done that too, and that's on the second page. Here are three graphs that we actually put together when we were thinking that we wouldn't hire Civic Plus, or hadn't thought about that yet. We thought we would do it ourselves. And so I started doing some of those graphs. There are any number of graphs that you can put together to show progress in strategic planning. Here are three of them. And then finally, the final page is what I've used most often. And that is, it lists the project, the date of completion, the expected date of completion. It tells you where things are with a little icon, and then any problems or issues that have come up that we would have to address. And you can probably get, 10 of these on a page. So it's a 2-page report, very easy to read. And it's the thing that I've used most often, especially with faculty who don't have a lot of time, but yet they want to know what you're doing. So this has worked well.
The question is, any reason why you chose the blue, yellow, green?
No, I didn't choose it. This is a picture that I found on I do chat.
I guess I was looking at this.
It's a picture.
I was looking at these little dots here.
It's a picture.
Yeah, so if you
Yeah.
have ChatGPT make you an image, they pick the colors for you,
Thank you.
unless you
Got
tell
it.
them ahead of time.
Okay,
Thank you.
okay, got it.
All right. The key metrics,
Yeah,
blue.
yeah.
So I was just choosing them at random. So you would want to choose key metrics that really meant something. These do not.
Well, I was wondering how you achieve 50% of evaluating ratings in town websites.
It's nonsense.
Well, I understand it's nonsense, but in reality, it would still be nonsense?
Oh, well, who knows? I don't know.
Okay, all right.
I mean, we'd have to talk about our targets.
Okay.
We haven't done anything.
So between discussion among the team members
Yes.
that's come up, we're about 45%, we're 98%, whatever. They would estimate their own pass, I guess.
Yes, and moreover, maybe the select board has certain targets in mind.
Okay.
So we might want to talk with them as well. So.
Right,
I
I mean,
think
something like
that's-
that could be implemented with a,
I'm sorry?
we could implement something like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rating
Okay,
system on the town website and have people just click,
Yeah,
to
so
say how
a
they
pop-up
do.
button.
Right, and then we can quickly, from those that participate, we can gauge, a quick town rating.
this is like the best restaurant in town. Okay, everybody who's here tonight.
Yes or no?
Right, exactly, yeah, you just, we put it up on the site, anybody who's there, bottom corner, 5 stars, 1 star.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's something that's easily,
Okay,
implemented.
every day, for every other hour, I need you to rate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's it. That's what I've got.
Okay, excellent.
So are there next steps then, or will we just?
Yeah, so we will need answers to the questions that I posed up front. And In addition to that, we should go over the plan itself and we should determine, what's been done, what's in progress, what needs to be done. Are there projects that we would eliminate? Are there projects that we want to add?
Maybe we need a tactical plan.
So there are some things that I can volunteer to handle with this. That super large document, that the planning document, I know what you're talking about. I believe I've actually previously thrown it through GPT. It's a public document. Right, you can put it through there and actually say, like, can you point to the pages that have anything to do with communication in them?
Yeah.
And it'll do that for you for super long documents.
Yeah.
I believe, like I said, I think I've done that already. So I can do that again and get
Great.
get everybody the responses on that. I don't think there are many the last time. It's been a while since I did it, but I do not believe that there were a whole lot other than like, we need to bolster communications in town, right?
Yeah.
That's right. Around the same time the committee was reestablished. So it was kind of like an open-ended responsibility. So I could definitely take care of that. One of your other questions was around, who should take lead on this? Who do we want to take lead on this? I haven't taken lead on a project in a little while, other than helping Ed out with the AI stuff. I don't mind doing it.
Okay.
And looking into some of the tactical stuff that we can do, start writing some of these up, or getting a list and getting that moving. Unless somebody else wants to jump on it, that's okay.
I'm not qualified, you don't know that. So who originated the community plan? Where'd that come from? Is that planning board?
The
We're working on now.
the town, God, the name always slips me. We just talked about it. The
Pioneer Valley Planning?
the planning. Yeah, I think we used.
So the community plan?
Yeah, community plan.
To me, they call it community plan.
No, I mean, no.
Yeah, he was asking who wrote it.
Who wrote it?
Yeah.
Lots of different people.
Yeah.
All kinds of people, lots of different people. So Doug Albertson, for example, did the land portion,
Okay.
but other people did other.
But was it started by the planning board or was it?
No, it wasn't started by the planning board.
Huh.
I think it was started by the select board.
Okay, all right, okay.
Because there are many sections that were submitted by different departments.
Okay. Yeah, all right, so.
Yeah. And, I don't know exactly what's happened to it.
Yeah, I'm surprised there's not an index. That just doesn't make any sense at all.
Not in the one that I could, in fact, the only way I could get this was I had to print out the individual portions of it.
Wow.
Because there was no comprehensive document when I did this a few years ago,
Wow.
2 years ago, I think.
Wow, okay.
So it is technically all listed underneath the planning department.
Mhm.
I have it here. Belchertown.org/253/community-plan. Yeah, it's broken up into 12 sections. You have to download each of them.
That's right.
Land use, housing, economic development, natural and cultural, open space and recreation, community facilities, transportation, health and human services, agriculture. A 10A, farmlands and local importance, climate resilience and sustainability, and age and dementia friendly.
Wow.
So there's a lot of stuff there.
Yeah, and if you open the different sections, you'll be able to see what years they're from, like some of them are quite old.
Right.
And then, you can also see like who helped author some of them.
Yeah.
It's, you'd think it would be fair to say, like, if an author didn't show up, that it wasn't, authored by, it was solely authored by the town.
Okay.
This is what I was gonna try to do with that. Because the ones that like the Pioneer Valley Planning Commission and stuff helped on, like, their logos and everything are on there.
So, so Allegra and I have discussed from time to time whether any of this or progress, for example, on a tactical plan or strategic plan should be included in the newsletter. I'm particularly interested in economic development and what we're doing there. Would it make sense to include that in the newsletter? I don't know. I asked the question.
I mean, access to it, not the whole plan, obviously. Like a click on this.
Yeah.
Yeah. And go right to that on the website.
I think that
What
once-
is the EDIC said about being included in the newsletter? And maybe we should hold that portion of the conversation off until we get to the newsletter part of the agenda. Like, have we approached the EDIC or Economic Development Industrial Corporation and asked them to submit to the newsletter?
So when we launched the newsletter, we did initial outreach.
To the departments only.
No. No, we made a list of all the committees in town, of as many nonprofits as we could find. And like the PVPH or PVPC was
Mhm.
there. I can look at the list to see if EDIC was there. I think they probably were, because they're very visible. So I think we found their contact. Many committees and other parts of government don't submit to the newsletter, but the idea is they're welcome to share updates on the work that they do through the newsletter.
So the EDIC has a current goal of increasing communications. So, and it's Cheryl Dutton on the EDIC that is in charge of that. So I can send you her email. But back to the tactical plan stuff.
Yeah, I think it would be jumping the gun a bit or putting the cart before the horse if we started adding stuff immediately to the newsletter about it when we still want to add a bunch of stuff to the town website. I think once it's up there and there is regular progress on it, then I think it'd be nice to like highlight, even if it is just like a small section that says, check out the town progress, things like that. I could see that being the time to do it. But highlighting it while we're still scrambling doesn't sound like the optimal.
Like we're scrambling in one way.
Well,
You mean the
we're still
website?
we're still putting up the website,
Yeah.
the communication side, we're still trying to put something together for that. Like, I think it's become important to different departments in town, but it hasn't, we haven't bore any fruit from it. So let's wait until that happens.
Okay, I'm just, okay.
I mean, that's
So-
my 2 cents in that, right, as far as the newsletter goes.
Yeah, so the reason that I think about it on is, look, we have $1 million deficit at least. We're supposed to be putting 3 to 5% of our annual operating revenue away, storing it. We don't do that. We can't even balance the budget this year. And so I think, what's the most important problem facing our community today? It's how to balance the budget, and that will require economic development.
So I don't disagree with you on that.
Mhm.
Right, and I think that those issues should be highlighted. And particularly in the town manager's update, right, and what was happening there. Because it is such a prevalent issue in town. But putting any of the planning stuff into there, and I think we are more into the newsletter discussion than into
Yeah.
the discussion right
Yeah,
now.
sorry, Tom. Yeah.
I think we're not at a time where that's ready, right? I mean, I'd love to have the EDIC have comments on there. I'd love to have them say that the progress is being made and what's happening, but in a way that we wrap it around, community action and a plan of sorts. I don't think that's ready.
Okay. Not a related question. What if EDIC wasn't willing to do it or just didn't have the personnel? Is there something we could do? I mean, we don't have our own reporters as such, but this seems like such an important issue that everyone should be aware of. And so I'm trying to think, well, how would you publicize it aside from the newsletter?
So I think
What else can we do?
I think I'll put that question on hold until we get to the newsletter section.
Okay.
But that is a question that has come up.
Fair enough.
If you want to put together a roundtable down the road, BCTV can certainly take it and Facebook it and YouTube it and play it on air. It's another way of getting the word out.
Yes.
Keep it under half an hour.
But as far as the communications plan goes, as far as putting together real tactical plans, 'cause I think that was sort of where the discussion came last meeting, was that we need to start actually putting together some of the tactical plans, and deciding on what is important and what is not. I don't mind putting together a handful of them at this point. And, or there's people in the hallway, we didn't close the doors. I can put together a handful of these, bring them back to the committee. I think one of the questions you had is who approves these? I think in its current state, we do as a committee. And then we present them as these are some of the examples that we want to be moving forward with. Present those to the select board in attachment to the whole thing. Right, and say like, here's the plan and we have some things that are being used. Close that door. But yes, I think it's also, no matter, once this kicks off.
Not the sauna.
Once it kicks off, who is gonna be in charge of deciding on what is approved for those plans? I think that's a good point as well. Right, is that come to the town manager, select board? Is it voted on by the communication committee to go in and then presented to the board or the town manager or somebody else, right? I think that's
Good question.
that is definitely something that needs to be answered too.
I'm just thinking this through from the case of the newsletter, which is a project we started since I joined. And that was something we started without, like, we talked to the town manager about it because we're doing it with the town manager's office. But it's not something we got approval from the select board to do. But that would be something that we would develop a tactical plan for. I think we should be one of the things we have a tactical plan for as an ongoing project. But it seems like it's been the case that the committee does work that doesn't all get approved through the select board. I don't know if that should or should not be the case.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely things that we take on our own. There's things that we go through the town manager for. There are things that we go through the select board through.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think.
Although we did actually present it to the select board as part of the last stage before we weren't getting any official vote on it or anything.
Yeah, we just were like, hey, this is what we're doing, check it out.
Yeah, and we essentially got the nod from the town manager that, yes, this is okay. We're gonna put town resources into this.
But potentially having a communications plan with all the tactical components laid out would mean we're creating more of a process for projects to get approval in some way,
Yes.
which makes sense.
I think it's really important that we go down that project management route and kind of highlight how feasible it is.
Yeah.
And how it can be adapted for others if necessary.
I think there's layers to this too, that there's one step of getting something approved to the communication plan, which frankly, I think that we could say either we as a committee approve of it together, right? And therefore it's now in the town communication plan, as advised by the communication committee, or, we say that Steve approves it by recommendation of the communication committee, right? And that puts the plan in, or that puts the action item into the communication plan, right? And then we write up on the website that this is now a project that's happening. But then the approval of the project to say that it's finally done and it goes live, I think that's when we have to make a second distinction of does the end product need to be approved by the select board? Does the end product need to be approved by the town manager? Or maybe it's a case by case, it could be a handful of people, right? IT has to approve of it, select board has to approve of it, then it can go live. The town clerk has to approve of it, right? Whatever
those steps are.
Whatever those steps are, but that comes down to the individual plans.
So my question would be, great, we running this in parallel with the town community plan? In other words, is the town community plan driving these communication efforts on our part?
And that's the issue that I was trying to bring up.
Yeah.
Should our communications derive from the town strategic plan?
Yeah.
And so,
It would make more sense to me.
Right.
Okay, so when there is a town strategic plan.
Okay.
Is there anything else you need from me?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I'll be in touch if I do.
All right.
Super exciting.
Okay. 20 after 7. Let's go on to the next thing, and have enhanced town warrant progress update. I have notes from Ed on that one.
I have notes too. Let's see what it covers.
Oh, I'm sorry. He has notes from the communication plan, so I'm gonna backtrack just a minute. He says, I uploaded the text only, no graphics from the latest draft of the communications plan to the town website for comment by the committee. It is not publicly available yet. I don't know what site he put that on or whatnot. We'll have to ask for more context on that one. The only comment I received was to insert graphics, which will be the last step before publication.
That was for me.
That's for you. Okay. Okay, so that's that. Okay, now on to the enhanced town meeting packet. I know, again, Ed has been very busy. There were a couple of action items that he had coming into the meeting, as well as Kate from the meeting we had with the clerks and everybody.
So Ed had action items of working with other towns on gathering information. Melissa was just kind of going through the main meeting and rebuilding the timeline for that, how that happened. My to-do is more of the clerical and the project management and setting up the meetings and keeping people on track. We were originally gonna have a meeting before Thanksgiving. We left that room that day saying, let's have a meeting before Thanksgiving. I sent out a doodle poll to vote on it, and it looked like Terry was gonna be on vacation based on how she voted. Steve was gonna follow up with her and talk to Lisa, because Lisa was the one that was really pushing to meet before Thanksgiving, to see about moving it to January. And I have not heard back from Steve, so
That's a long ways away.
it is. So I've made myself a note to make sure I ask him about that tomorrow.
Okay. Okay, then I have Ed's notes, which I've read through, and there's actually some extra stuff that I can fill in, because he had a call with me the other day about it. I've spoken with Munson regarding their efforts. Munson specifically said, it sounds like a terrible idea to add all this stuff into the warrants, and it sounds like a lot of extra work. To which I said, well, forget Munson. We don't need their opinion.
It's just so funny, because they already have like the stuff that we want to add in there.
Yeah, so it just seems odd.
Who'd you speak to, the person who did the work?
I don't know. He said, I've been attempting to reach the Ware town manager, no success as of yet. Reaching out to the chairs of various committees involved in the warrants, school, finance, CPC, or in parentheses, to discuss the project and the process. School committee, I spoke with Heidi on the phone. She is all on board. I'm invited to speak at their meeting Tuesday evening, but very enthusiastic about this idea and the increased transparency it will provide. Finance, next line, finance. I have a call scheduled with Brian for Friday. But he's on board with the idea, thought it was great. Next line, CPC, not heard back, we'll continue to try. His next steps are identify the workflow needed to make it happen, identify the timelines for various committees to submit their information. Yeah, so, I mean, I'll openly share that, like, there's been a lot of, questioning of what other towns are doing and sort of pushback on, let's not make any decisions until we see what they're doing. I personally think that we are the best at knowing our own capabilities and setting our own timelines, that it's unnecessary to talk to these other towns, but that's fair. We might as well go with it. These other towns are doing these things. We've seen it in their documents. So clearly they're getting it done. I think it's just a matter of rethinking our own schedules and what we're capable of within the town and setting a new precedent. And yes, maybe it pushes the schedule back a bit and makes things tighter for this year. But next year, that will just be the day that it's due. And the year after that, it'll be the day that it's due. And it just, sure, there's a pushback this year. The rest of the time, it's set. So personally, I'd love to just see this move forward. But we'll see how that goes. And obviously, this is a project by committee, so we'll find out what decisions are made when we finally get together. But it's disheartening to hear that we're pushing back to January because that's even less time we have to inform people that they need to get things done sooner.
So I can certainly, when I follow up with Steve tomorrow with not having an answer, I can let him know that we spoke about it and we think that we really need to meet in the beginning of December. If we're not meeting before Thanksgiving, let's split the difference between Thanksgiving and January and meet early December.
Yeah, I would include that we've heard back from the school committee and the finance committee, because the finance committee came up in those discussions as being the one that is always getting their information last. And, sorry to put them on blast and public, but, that was the concern was they get their information last. There's a lot of stuff that they have to go through and make sure that it's correct. So it takes them a while, and to give them less time would probably upset them. But it sounds like they're happy to be transparent about these things and get this stuff in, so.
It's also worth noting too, that the finance committee is under new leadership after many years as well.
Correct, yes, so, it seems like we have a lot of different committees on board, so, I think it's worth telling Steve that that's the case as well.
Yeah, agreed.
And so it's sort of a, let's just do it.
Yeah.
Set the dates, tell everyone what the
Yes.
deadlines are,
Yes.
and make it happen.
Kate, I have a question. So you said the finance committee is now under new leadership.
Yeah, they changed their chairs.
How would we know that?
Well, we don't advertise when any committee changes their chairs. It's just updated on our webpage.
Why?
I don't know.
That's pretty important. Especially the finance committee.
I don't have an answer for that. It's
Okay.
one of those common, we've always done it this way kind of things, but and to that end, like, we weren't getting good updates on the website until Abby stepped into this position.
Mhm.
Like, the website was not being kept up to date
Sure.
with who the chairs were, so we're better in that regard. But I think it's also one of those too, like, where do you draw the line? Where do you start saying, these are the committees that we're gonna tell people about? And their leadership changes, right? Like, that's a whole separate conversation.
I will throw out, we have a town newsletter, and that is a great space for any committee or board to make an announcement that they have new leadership. That they have, give them a small platform to say anything about it. So maybe it's something that we,
That's the appropriate place.
yeah, I think maybe something that we can inform, who we have to, try to remember, I think Finerty is who reports back to when you informing people of new, or the changes in chairs and vice chairs and whatnot. So I think it would be on them to say, oh, hey, you have the opportunity to put this in the newsletter.
Mhm.
Right, maybe that's something that we could just ask the Finerty House to do. And possibly something, and I know I already said we're not gonna get too into the newsletter stuff early, but, yeah, I can see that as something that, like, even if they wanna make a statement now for December, why not let them?
Mhm.
Right. But otherwise, yeah, I don't know what else we would do. Good problem to solve, though.
Or you can start hanging out around town hall or just listening.
There are lots of things I could do. It's not at the top of my list.
Right.
But it seems to me, people I get that question periodically. Who do I write to about the town's finances? Or, who do I write to about why are they taking my land from me and putting it in conservation? And I don't really know what to say other than, well, here are the committees that would do this. But the question is, do you want the chair out there and do you want people writing to the chair? And I don't know the answer to that. I'm just raising it as a question.
So depending on the chair, and the committee, there is the ability to email that person on the website. So sometimes the emails go, directly to that chair. Sometimes they go to the entire committee, depending on how the committee wants it set up. So if somebody wants to contact the finance committee, they could simply go onto the website, and maybe we need to get better about advertising this. Clearly, we do if people are asking,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
You should just go onto the finance committee's page and you can hit the button to email them.
Okay, so we
Sorry.
should move on.
Yes.
Gateway.
So any other questions or anything else for the enhanced town warrants? Okay. Gateway signage.
Nothing. And and that's my problem. Because Kate asked me for information and I didn't provide, and I will do that.
And
Sorry.
I was supposed to get information from Ludlow. I did follow up, or I did send a message to them. I didn't hear back.
Mhm.
And that's on me for not following up with them.
So
So equally guilty there.
Okay, moving on then, town newsletter, November updates.
Hello, okay, town newsletter. Well, let me just, a few threads that came up before. I'm just looking, we talked about EDIC, we did reach out to EDIC in our initial outreach. So when we launched the newsletter in April, I think it was Emily and I must have done this. Yeah, it was Emily and I. We came up with a list of all the people who wouldn't be caught in Steve's email to all departments. So all committees, all other sort of bodies that we could contact in addition to departments. And so EDIC was among them. The finance committee was among them, although I'm looking now at the contact that I have for the finance committee, and it is not the FinCom email address. I wonder if that one, was that not available in April? Was that in
It might not have been.
Okay, because I had like an individual's email address, the chair at the time.
Yeah.
But anyway, one to-do point that came up at our last meeting is doing another wave of outreach to let folks know about the newsletter as an outlet for any committee or any other body's desire to share information with the town. I have not done any outreach since the initial wave of outreach in any sort of formalized way. I've, talked to people about it and stuff, but I haven't tried to send a bunch of other emails to all the organizations again. I think that's a good thing to do. And so that's just a to-do thing. And I think last time I said this, but I'll say it again and actually do it, which is that I think I'll talk with Chris, who's working with me on the newsletter, and also Kate about the best way to do that. But maybe I have been thinking winter lull of work would be a good time to do outreach. I don't know if what do you guys think? Is there a good time to try to get it on people's radar?
So now is not a good time because there is no winter lull.
Yeah.
So now we're starting to come up with budgets for next year.
Mhm.
So that's kind of already starting.
Mhm.
The lull for putting things on people's radar is right after town meeting happens. Because everyone's taking a breather before it's the race to the end of the fiscal year. And then
We're
there's
talking about budgets again.
yeah, exactly. And then there's like a lull kind of through the summer. And then once you get into the holiday season, it's preparing budgets and everything and getting ready for, annual reports people are working on and everything else too.
Okay.
So I have a question. This is regarding my wife, who says she signed up for the newsletter and 3 times has yet to receive a copy. So I'm trying to figure out what the disconnect might be for people like that.
Apologies to Peg. I actually think I noticed at one point, but didn't fix. She is subscribed, but for some reason, she's one of a few emails that bounce. And I don't know if it's because of her
I'll give you her correct.
ISP. No, it's the correct email address, because I've emailed her at the address that the
Oh,
newsletter
okay.
has.
Oh,
So I will reach out to her
okay.
to individually troubleshoot that one. There's like a handful of people.
So things do bounce back and then you're aware of it, okay.
Yeah, we can see on the back end that
Okay.
things are bouncing. Sorry, Dave. But I'll reach out to her and try to get that working.
Thank you.
And so that's actually another to-do point, is just kind of email management of the folks on constant contact, because there's a few errors with a few email addresses that accrue over time as folks sign up. Actually don't really have any other major updates for the newsletter. The other thing that I've been working on and thinking through is about policies for what we share, but Kate and I are gonna talk about that in a separate section of the agenda. That must be later in the agenda because it has not
Yeah,
already
it
happened.
is. It's
Okay.
it's the next one.
Oh, okay, great. Yeah, I don't know, any other questions or Chris, what am I missing?
I don't think we're necessarily missing anything. I think we did another great job in November. It continues to be a incredibly long email, which is both good and bad. It's nobody's complained that it's too long, and that people are saying that it's actually wonderfully informative. They're learning about a lot of town events from it that they otherwise wouldn't have known about, which is excellent. That's the goal, right? So I think we're still doing a great job. Part of me wonders, the marketing half of me does wonder, like, at what point are we too long? And just like, we're just putting too much in there, and the town is relying too much on this newsletter that's being built by volunteers.
I'm gonna say, as a reader, I'm not interested in that article, next article,
Well, right, you just kind of keep scrolling.
Just keep bouncing down,
Right.
so it's not,
Just like-
length is immaterial. to me.
Right, just like reading a newspaper, you can just read the headlines and move along, yeah.
So if we ever like had the option to throw money at this, we could tier up our plan and then we would get the heat mapping. And we'd actually be able to see where people are
Oh,
clicking
sure.
and how far people are scrolling and everything else too. So like maybe that's like something I see if we can get some money set aside for going into next year. So we're working smarter, not harder on this.
What's the cost of that?
It's $56 a month.
Well, that's a difficult thing to do as well, because, right, like, you can't say like, oh, well, nobody's clicking on the fire department stuff, so we're gonna drop the fire department content, right? Like, that's not.
Yeah, like I wouldn't say that though, but maybe like, oh, no one's clicking on the fire department, maybe we should try to change where they are in here.
Gotcha.
And
Yeah,
then you could also get into like the A/B testing, be like, we're gonna put the fire department third from the top in this group, and we're gonna put them fifth here, and we're gonna see if there's a difference in how they perform.
Gotcha.
And that's what we would get with that next level up.
Okay.
You say $56 a month, you mean per person or?
No, it's $56 a month, period. Just,
Period,
yeah, like your
So,
cable
right.
channel.
So $560, $700 easily.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I like having more information about how the newsletter is being interacted with. I think the question of like, making decisions about what to include or not include in the newsletter would become tricky. And also, if we're gonna take that information into account, that does take time to take the information into account and make changes
Sure.
based on it. And so,
But what if we
Keeping
found
it-
out that like 0% of people are making it, past the 2/3 point?
well, we know that that's not true because we see the links that people.
Yeah,
click on.
people are
There's a lot of
clicking on,
links at
that's
the
true.
end.
Yeah, we do it,
So there is some data that we already have to know that people are getting through it, some people.
But I think by the end of the year, we will have, when do we start this, April?
Yeah, May was the first issue.
May, right.
Or
Um,
April, yeah, something.
I think we have enough data to start going back and looking at some of those, and seeing, maybe that's something that I can do. I'm in there, I can look it up and just get an idea of how well it is doing. And track those links and try to map like how far down the page is a link versus how many clicks it got and stuff like that.
So my question is, when Alexa's life gets so busy, she can't do this, where do we go?
Allegra, not
I
Alexa.
was gonna say, that, like, right?
Don't confuse me with the Amazon. robot.
Sorry.
That's a good thing. That's a good thing. My name is-
That was a great comeback.
All right, yeah.
Great comeback.
Don't know where my brain went.
Well, I'll say to that, first off, you do a lot of the work, and it's excellent that you're doing it. Basically, my end of it is, once everything is already organized and written and already submitted, I just go in and lay it out, right? And I just take a template and copy paste, and make sure it looks nice. To which she then goes in and fixes, but but that is a good point of at one point, is this an overburden on a committee member and needs to move forward? I don't think we're necessarily at that point yet. I know you said before that you enjoy doing it, but
Yeah,
it is something to keep in mind, that like, where does the volunteer service end? And it's now like, okay, this is now a town staple, it needs to be considered.
Yeah, and allotting the man hours, people hours, excuse me.
Yep.
To make sure that that happens.
And yeah, I just think we need to keep that on the table.
It's
Yeah.
worth saying, right? Every once in a while it's worth saying that like, at some point,
Even if it's not the right person, you know.
right, at some point, it should roll off of our plate if we've proven it's a success. Right, I mean, maybe we haven't got the metrics together and we haven't reported back, but that's something we do as well, is report back to the select board
Yeah.
of the success of it. And say like, this is also why at some point we should put it on somebody else's plate. Whether that's more hours to the communication manager and they take on a lot more of it or something else, I don't know. But yeah, that's all.
Sounds good.
Nothing actual right now, but. Should we skip Belchertown.org and go into the statement of the communications committee officially? That way we can, it seems to be hand in hand with newsletter.
It does, and I feel like we wanna take care of something important like that before we all get too drained.
Yes, so let's do that.
So we kind of like left the last meeting saying, hey, you know, we've gotten feedback from other communities around the Commonwealth. People are letting us know what they're doing, sharing with us their calendars, if they have a calendar. And kind of, you know, looking to go forward with creating a statement for sharing our community partners events on the website. So we kind of met before this meeting, Chris, Allegra, and I to kind of talk things through. And a couple important things that we noted, and I've updated our events form to call out, are specifically like if anybody's making money off the event, yes or no, and then who is that? So, you know, it's a difference between like, you know, someone going and hosting a private event for their business in their advertising for it, versus if somebody is a private business and they're hosting this event and they're gonna give a percentage of that back to a charity, right? So like, we don't wanna get into,
Wow.
you know, out there being like, you know, yoga on the Common every Saturday and it's run by Billy and Billy's charging $20 a person and Billy's gonna take all that money and then pocket it and that's it. So basically that would be advertising Billy's business for him versus Billy's doing yoga on the Commons. It's $20 to join and 10% of that's gonna go back to the rec center. Does that make sense?
I'm not sure.
Go ahead.
So I'm wondering what happens to that $20 in any case? Is that reinvested in our community in some way?
Exactly, so that's the question that we had, so I updated the form to have a yes, no button on there about whether or not a profit will be made off the event. And if you're making a profit, tell us all these things. Is it being reinvested back into the community? I didn't use those words, that's a great phrase, and I'll probably go in and change that tomorrow, but, you know, is it going back to the community? Is it a profit sharing business? So like, one of the PTOs or schools had like a dinner night at McCarthy's where like 20% of what was spent at McCarthy's goes back to that PTO on top of whatever, you know, they were selling raffle tickets and everything else too. Antonio has a bunch of those as well. So that changes things a little bit versus somebody hosting an event and then not giving anything back to the community.
I can kind of see the point. Let's say that he does keep the $20. Great. If it improves his standard of living and that of his family, what's wrong with that? Moreover, if he's successful, does that attract more businesses to Belchertown?
So where does the line come in? So say a business in town wanted us to put up their Wednesday night dinner specials. Because they're hoping to get more people to that business on a Wednesday night to eat those dinner specials. Would we put that on the calendar?
I'm not sure. I just raised this as an issue.
Yeah.
I think about economic development. What does that really mean for us? How would we support it?
I'm thinking of Belchertown Community TV. We didn't do this, but there are public access TVs that do this kind of advertising to stay afloat. So, and that's, I don't know if that's because they're not run by the town they're run by a board versus the town. But every once in a while you go and you see this kind of advertising on a community TV station.
Does that mean those community TV stations are taking money for the advertising?
Absolutely.
Okay, so we're talking about putting up things without an exchange of money going to the people
Right,
sharing.
but you're, I mean, the idea is you're promoting a business.
Yeah, no, still, that's an issue, and then there's the taking money, which is another component.
Yeah.
Because we're not trying to raise revenue through this, we're not selling ad spots or anything, we're just talking about whether we share the information.
So is this like a third community events, what's happening in town?
So already on the website, there's, you're on the homepage and you're looking at the calendar and it defaults to the meetings calendar. And then you can click on the tab next to it, which is for events.
Right.
And that's where we're talking about putting this information. So
Yeah.
there's already a whole bunch of stuff in there.
Right. But for some reason, separating for town events, to me, takes it away from.
But we wouldn't separate, so people have the option to go ahead and look at the calendar with everything integrated in it.
Oh.
And we can't do that on our website to begin with, because of the way our calendar is set up, it would be like an extra fee to do that.
I like the separation between town and
Yeah,
events.
I agree too.
And therefore, because it is separated, I had less worry about what goes on it. It's more about what's happening in your community as opposed to official stuff.
Yeah, that's exactly the fine line.
Yeah.
And then there's a third calendar that just has like holidays on it.
Right.
So where do we go from here? Like, we want to be able to present something to the select board, hopefully on Monday. If we can't, we can get taken off the agenda. That's not a problem. But we want to be able to go to the select board on Monday and be like, this is what we think it should be. Can you endorse this and get behind it? Or are we way off base and you think we should do this instead? And that's kind of the statement that we're looking to put together now, would be saying, what do you think about this?
Well, I think, if we're sending it to a Monday, I think we want to come with some options, but a recommendation by
Yes.
our committee, which we would vote on.
Yeah.
So I think that, yeah, the question comes down to, what are the options? And I think it's, letting any business, right, any kind of event or any kind of promotion put in there, put stipulations around the businesses that can do it, or around, what they're doing it for. Is it, they're working with a community group, they're working with a charity, something else, and in which case it's, yes, they're getting some money off of it, but there's a percent of proceeds going to be basically reused in the community, right? Or do we just say, if you're a for-profit organization, you should have your own methods of advertising? And I'm willing to, like, if there's other options that people have, we should bring them up. Now's the time to discuss them, but I think those are the three options that we are looking at.
Right.
And that we should probably come to an agreement on which one we agree on.
Well, I'm going to
Just
say
say
that.
take a vote, it's suggested.
I would suggest that.
Okay. I just want to say that for events, I'm open to anything being an event in town.
Actually, really quick. Well, I was gonna ask you, Esther, if you guys had a policy around that and advertising on BCTV, that would sort of match this goal.
Yeah, no, for BCTV, we wouldn't be running ads straight up. It's more like we would go for sponsorships for certain content, like sports, you'll do that for.
PBS kind of stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, but my comment on the calendar is like, specifically just thinking about Belchertown. not tons of things going on. Wouldn't you, what is the goal of it? Is it just to get people to be more engaged? And if it is, like, maybe who cares if it's for profit or not? Just a thought.
So the events calendar is something that the select board had initially charged this committee with eons ago. So it's now finally coming to fruition. And the idea is that the calendar exists on the website so that people do not have to be on social media in order to see what is going on in town. They can go to the website, click on the events link and see what is happening and not have to follow 50 different channels on social media or even be on social media in order to be engaged in what is happening.
I feel like I look for that kind of thing constantly for Belchertown. I'm sure everybody does. The goal is like have as many things as possible in one place. You know, I mean, there's got to be a limit in terms of like ticket pricing, etc. But like, I want to see as many things as possible.
And I agree, but I think that there's a fine line on it that, like, you know, we've already said, like, is it an event or is it advertising for these companies that, like, you know, is local liquor store is gonna have a wine tasting, right? But it's not, you know, all the proceeds are going to them. It's not, you know, recycling to the community. It's just they have a wine tasting going on. Is that up there? If you know, a cannabis store in town is having a sale, right? A big, you know, blowout sale. Is that something that we would advertise? Because if we're saying, you know, all options are available, then all options are available, right? And we don't regulate any of it, and anybody can put anything in there as an event, and it now becomes a marketing page.
Is a sale an event?
Well, that's what a policy's for.
Yeah, so I would say a sale is not an event, but a wine tasting is.
I kind of agree. And then there's the difference between adult content and everybody friendly.
So when you fill out the event form, there are options to click whether it's a family event, whether it's an 18+ event, whether it's a 21+ event. There's options on there to click to say the event's free, but you can buy things here. Or there's a button to click to say, no, it's a paid event.
So I'll also add to this conversation that in the research data that Kate collected from other towns about how they use their website calendars, their town website calendars, I didn't find any towns that put on private business things that make money for private businesses.
Same.
The towns that have the ability to advertise private business stuff do it through a chamber of commerce that does their own website that then can accumulate those private business profit-making events.
Okay.
I think the cases that we have seen in Belchertown through the newsletter and the other ways it's shared is when, for example, this month, the, is it the preschool, community preschool?
Yeah.
Is what it's called. They wrote to us because they're having a fundraiser that takes place at McCarthy's. McCarthy's is the channel through which they're raising money. But they wrote to us to advertise, or they didn't even write to us. They sent it to the town calendar. We took it from the town calendar. We confirmed with them we're going to share it in the newsletter. But it was the nonprofit organization that's doing a fundraiser. They're doing it in partnership with McCarthy's, where it's one of these things where 15% of everything will go that you buy that day at McCarthy's will go to the nonprofit. That seems fine to me. Another thing that seems like it would be allowable that involves private business is something like the Sugar Shack event and other things that have some buy-in from the town because, for example, the cultural council is supporting the event or something like that. That seems like that we should definitely be able to share things that the cultural council has supported.
So my compromise would be then on the event page, it pops up, it says, for what businesses may be doing, click on this the Amherst CFC website.
Well, we don't have a chamber of commerce
It's
body.
It's Amherst.
No, and
Right.
we play the fence both ways. We are members of both the Amherst and the Quabog Hills.
That's right.
So that kind of adds an extra level of complexity there.
So it'd just be 2 links to look at versus, okay.
And we don't really have a lot of leeway in what we can put around the calendar on the website. So there's very little text we can get into unless Chris like goes in the back and like hijacks it, which we've done in the past. But it's really locked in for like, you get what you get and you don't get upset.
Okay.
Doesn't Belchertown have a greater need than towns around us to be a friendly place for business? Isn't the goal to get more? Like other towns might not do it,
Yes.
but is that best practice? I mean,
Yes,
either they don't need to because they already have a lot going on, or they don't and it's a lost opportunity. I don't know.
So I feel like this may be the inflection point where we are gonna ask the select board to make that decision.
Right.
I think this is where we've come to.
Well, I think,
Yeah.
I think that's absolutely correct. And I think that, again, we said we give them 3 options. One very limiting, one very open, and one where we structure rules in between. And we can say the pros and cons of those, the pros of it being, like the pros of having everything open, right, and anybody can advertise, is that it will be a greater support to local businesses and economy. And that there are plenty of things that we could do to show that this is, not supporting the town, but it's supporting the business. But hey, they're advertising anyway, let's put it on there. Middle ground, pros, like, again, pros and cons on all 3 of them, right? And saying that this is what will come out of it. Then we could say, where our committee is leaning, or we can leave it open and just say that it is at the end of the day for them to decide on.
I feel like if we leave it too open-ended, they're gonna send us back with homework and we're not gonna have a resolution.
How much time do they give you on the agenda?
You usually get like 15 minutes.
That should be enough, I would think, yeah. Okay.
I am tempted to say that we should wait one more select board meeting,
I agree.
but if you are
No,
feeling
I'm totally
otherwise,
fine with that.
I feel like maybe we could put our heads together more to get more down on paper that we talk a little bit more about here.
Yep.
Can I do a little straw vote? I mean, I'm open-ended. You're kind of middle of the road, I think, Chris, and I don't know where Mark is. Middle of the road. I'm just doing a straw vote on whether.
no, I'm for allowing,
He's
I'm
wide
for
open.
allowing businesses to have.
Yeah.
I feel like you guys are split too. That's sitting on this side of the table
Yeah.
and hearing what the 4 of you have said, I'm getting that feeling that it's gonna split too.
Okay,
And I think if that's the way it is, we could definitely go to the select board and be like, the committee is split too.
Well, we get heads in, but yeah.
I think we should do research on why other towns don't advertise business stuff then, like it
is there a
seems,
legal reason? Is that what you're thinking?
or something, I don't know,
And-
yeah, so,
And I think it's necessary for the committee to see the pros and cons written out before we make it.
yeah.
So I think that's where we
Okay.
have to go.
All right, so we can.
I'd love to get it
Yeah.
resolved, but
What's difficult is we don't have the kinds of economic data that I would expect to see. And I don't know how to get it. Well, I do know where it is, and we could get it.
We don't necessarily need economic data to make this decision, I mean, I totally agree.
I'm talking only for myself.
Oh, okay, okay.
Right.
I would only look at other towns that are thriving that we want to have.
Yes. Exactly.
So I guess we can take the list that we have of the communities that have shared with us, break it down into the ones that have community events calendars that they're actually using. I'm sure you noticed, people say that they have a community events calendar and then it's empty.
Right.
That happened plenty of times
Yeah.
in clicking through websites. And then kind of go from there and put our heads together with a yes, no as to whether or not we consider them economically thriving. Although I think honestly, in the list of the 30 or so municipalities that we heard back from, I don't think any of them, I would say, are not thriving.
Okay, so AI says you can typically list business events on a town community event calendar, provided the event is open to the public and relevant to the local community.
That is really straightforward, and I like that. And that's something else we had talked about too, was, is it open to the public?
Yeah.
We're not gonna do anything unless it's open to the
Sure.
public.
And I said relevant to the local community. I think those two define it.
You're impressed to use AI, aren't you?
I want to make that statement, at the last meeting I was in, you started off the AI chat with about how it is evil and we should avoid using it. And you were the first person to jump on your phone and ask AI today,
That's
so
true, but.
I applaud you for your growth.
I have no problem asking his questions. I'm not sure I wanted to write me anything.
You're fine, yeah, agreed.
Is a wine tasting relevant to the community? Honestly, it sounds like it's not.
It
just sounds like
It
a
depends
wine
if you're a wine enthusiast or not. There are wine enthusiasts in the community.
Depends where you're buying your wine.
Yeah.
Well, so that's, I think, that the opening, the problem with opening up, right? Is that you're opening up to everybody and every concept and everything there. So again, that's why I brought up, a liquor store, I brought up a cannabis store, because those are not widely supported by everybody, right? There's, state votes, they're in, everything like that, we're not prohibition. But there are organizations like Boat would say that they would rather not see advertisements for a cannabis company
Okay.
on the same newsletter where they're saying cannabis is a gateway drug and it's not, okay, right? So like, where does that policy comes in to say like, okay, well, we want to protect some of the organizations that are in town that.
It does seem counterintuitive, doesn't it? Yes.
Indeed,
Yeah. Come to our cannabis tasting, but don't, okay.
Cannabis tasting, sorry, I suppose you just usually don't just eat it. Anyway, so, but yeah, so that's and like, these are local everyday businesses kinds of things, like who knows who opens up what type of business in town and decides to advertise with the community newsletter and calendar. So there is a level of, even if we open it, should it be open with stipulations, like no matter what, that like it can't have illegal substance or against the laws or
Oh, sure.
or something, like if.
Well, you can say relevant to the community, so that's subjective, you get to define that.
Right, then who defines it and whatnot is.
Well, the person who's doing the calendar, really.
Exactly.
And that's exactly what we're trying to get away from, because that's where we are right now is.
They all pay taxes, so they're all relevant.
Okay.
I mean, that phrase doesn't help you.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Okay, I see what you're saying. All right.
So I'm gonna ask to have us taken off for next week, put on to the week after that. The three of us will meet and discuss this again.
They're doing every other,
Yeah, they meet every 2
every
weeks,
2 weeks, okay,
Yeah.
yes, okay.
or the second and fourth, something like that. So the three of us will meet to discuss this further. I strongly encourage Lou to ask Chet to better define that last statement and see what he comes back with in the meantime. And then I would like to think that before next meeting, I can email the committee with the statement options that we've come up with, and that way we can actually take the formal vote. Does that make sense?
Great. And we will put in a statement about us voting on the next agenda. Okay. In the meantime, I suggest we all try to think about this and get our own opinions, because we will be voting about it.
Yeah, and we can also, we have a Google Doc, it's shared, so you can access it, but we can share the link. It just contains notes on some of the things we've seen on other event calendars and other towns and other newsletters.
Okay, so let's now jump to item 11, belchertown.org. Ed has some statements. And then Kate has some stuff she wants to say. So Ed said, I interviewed Chief Ingram regarding their mutual aid response to large fire in Amherst, working on an article And then next item, Kate requested assistance in getting an article written on a recent grant to the Belchertown Police Department. Not started that as of yet.
What
That is the last of Ed's notes, so
For what part of the agenda?
this is Belchertown.org. So I don't-
Yeah, we kind of jumped up again.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Thank you. No, that's fine.
Regarding the website, the redesign is obviously been hanging out there for months at this point.
Right.
So I went and booked myself an appointment using the link in his calendar for our rep over at Civic Plus, because I was tired of not being able to get hold of him. I wanted to think of that sooner. So we had our meeting. We went over a bunch of stuff. He sent me a document. I marked it up. I wrote back to him. That was on October 30th. I followed up. I have not heard from him. So I sent him an email this evening with a delivery receipt and a rate receipt on it.
Mhm.
And if I don't hear anything by Monday next week, I will book myself another calendar appointment with him to further work on getting this resolved.
Excellent.
Excellent. So that's where that's at.
That's where that's at.
Good job.
And as far as discussing the integration with the rec department and Cloud Memorial Library.
Yep.
I can make a statement to the rec. I met with them a while ago. We talked about what a game plan would look like and what could be done. It is just something that I have started and not been able to get back to. It has been lingering and it's been weighing on my mind and it's something I just need to do. So that's where the rec department is. They want to really, they still want to keep the site that they have, but they want relevant content copied over to the town website to sort of get their foot in the door into our space and then have it point back to their site where the actual signups and things can happen. We don't have a purchase platform on Civic Plus. It's available. It's an upcharge. The rec department would prefer to use what they have. They have a really good reputation with the company there. And they get it relatively cheap. So it's cost effective. It's best for them to stay where they are. So that's sort of going to be the idea, is that we're going to point, carry a lot of the content over, but point back to their site.
The library integration to the website was something that Ed had spoken to Cindy about, similar to how you're working with Kyle. Follows along a lot of the same lines. I understand that in a previous life, government, it's getting late, sorry, Cindy had used the Civic Plus modules for library usage, so familiar with how all of that works. We basically had told them to, at one point, rec and library, saying, hey, we're going through and putting this update into the website with all the new colors and this and that and everything else, and we don't want to get into integrating you guys into the site while we're doing all these other changes. But this redesign of the site with the colors and what have you is taking far longer than anyone ever anticipated. So now the question is, do we set up that meeting with rec and the library and talk about how they see it going forward, but also at the same time too, keeping in consideration that by April of 27, all of the town's digital assets have to be ADA compliant, and that includes the rec separate website and the library separate website. The schools are on the hook for their own. Steve's gonna talk about, cross-utilizing resources in order to help make all of this happen, because the schools have to accomplish that goal too. But in the end, we're looking at, if they're keeping these sites, we're looking at all these more sites that we have to get ADA compliant. So it's not just our main website, it's the library's website, and the rec's website, and the website that Creative Economy is using. It's all of these things. And putting the ADA compliant stuff into place is going to change the formatting of how we're presenting information on the website.
Is it possible the library website does not need to be in compliance because it's a nonprofit organization?
No. No, they're not a strictly nonprofit organization, they are town employees, it's a town website.
But they have a board of trustees.
Correct.
I thought the staff is town, but the library itself has a separate organization.
But it's the staff that runs it.
I mean, good for it to be ADA compliant, just curious how it works with them. Okay.
Bless you.
We're good. That was fake one, sorry.
Oh, fake out.
Yeah, I was gonna say, maybe rec doesn't need to be, part of that conversation, but you are absolutely correct about the compliance with ADA. That even if we would make the updates to our side of things, Belchertown.org side of things, that the rec department is going to have to be compliant. And that is gonna be a big overhaul.
Absolutely.
So that's like them hiring somebody, I think.
Agreed, it's. Like I've run their colors and stuff through, just on base checks, and then their colors aren't even.
Bright orange on white isn't good.
It's when they get into like doing the blue highlighting with the white letters over the beige background.
I know exactly, yeah.
You know the stuff I'm talking about.
Yeah, I've been meaning to contact even the school department, that they send like quarterly updates on like bright orange background and like black text, and it's like, it's so very hard to read. And it hurts your eyes to just go through them, and it's not compliant.
Appreciate the try to brand it with your school colors and everything else.
It's very nice, but like, don't. It's one of them, but yeah, okay. Any questions or comments otherwise about Belchertown.org and any of that stuff?
No.
No, okay.
I have 19 minutes and then I officially have to leave.
Well, then let's go to the communication manager update. Squeaky wheel.
Talked a lot about my different updates already. We talked about the webinar for the holiday stuff. We talked about the website stuff. We talked about the community planning matrix. All big projects that we're working on. The Lakes Committee just got onto the website this past week. So I put all their information together for them, and I sent them a link so they could review it. They voted at their meeting yesterday that they liked it and they were happy. So yay, that's a step forward. We are just about at the point of cresting 2,000 followers on Facebook. Yeah, so that's super exciting as well too. And then along the lines of social media, Emily last Friday and I got together over text and phone, and I officially was able to bring the Instagram account that she was holding for the town under the town's wing. Regarding getting all of our town social media accounts into the archiving software, we only have 2 outstanding ones remaining. The fire department, and I was gonna meet with Adam on Monday, but with the fire department being in Amherst all weekend, that clearly fell by the wayside, and for good reason. And then, getting the cultural council added in, and I have there's a weird technical glitch that's happening on the back end for them. So I have a meeting with them early Monday morning to get them on there, but otherwise, everybody else is on there. Everybody's got their social media policy signed. We did recently learn that the Conservation Commission, who does have a Facebook page, that was actually being admin by our 2 times ago conservation administrator.
Okay.
So that was kind of scary. So Joanne and I talked a little bit about putting operating procedures in place around when people are leaving in order to ensure that we have these assets. Stephanie in the conservation department was able to reach out to them and was made an admin on that page, and they're working on actively transferring the ownership to her.
Well, per the social media policy,
They have to have
IT
2.
department has to be.
The IT is not on any of them because they're not, and the social media policy is due to get rewritten in December,
Okay.
but it's gonna be going with a 2 deep on everything.
I recall IT specifically saying that they wanted access to all of these in case something happened and they needed to take ownership. So,
And
But
that's
they
back when,
follow up
that's
that.
back when IT thought that they could just log in using their Belchertown email address and not have to actually
Have it count.
have an account on social media.
Gotcha.
That kind of changed everything.
Oh,
You can't be an admin on a page if you don't have a social media account for that page. And you can't create a social media account using a business email address. They'll figure you out and delete you and your assets.
Okay.
And that's about it, unless you have questions for me.
Minor question, do you know what the name of the archiving software is the town uses?
It's called Archive Social.
Also on the Civic Plus.
Yep, also owned by Civic Plus. Oh. Talking about Civic Plus products. And as we all know, the more we buy, the better the customer service is. We are looking into adding the incident control module into AlertSense.
Excellent. Will that put us over that threshold?
I don't know.
Okay.
We will find out when we have that meeting. It's something that I'm working on with Chief Ingram.
Okay.
Did you say it's the incident control module? Did I
Yeah.
get that wrong?
Yeah,
The thing was passed at town meeting about
Yeah,
integrating his reports.
Okay, cool. BCTV. Esther, how are we doing?
Hello. Sorry, I forgot we moved it to 6:30. That's why I was late.
Oh, no problem.
But yeah, okay. Updates. Town meeting happened. We had our shorts before it. Any feedback on that? I thought they were cute, but
I thought they were cute too. I don't have any feedback on that.
okay.
I heard, people enjoyed them. They liked the, you know, that it was quick, digestible, that they'd love to see more of them.
Oh, okay.
I mean, that was just a quick in passing, those were great. Yeah.
Yeah, and I know annual town meeting's a little different. There's a million more people to deal with, and you don't want to stop things from happening. But
Right. Actually, it was in the, town meeting with all the different department leads and everything that we had at the school last, where they said actually, while you guys usually do is sit down and discuss all the major topics, that is good, but they'd rather it in that smaller format, that like quick, each one gets their own segment, they're like 2 minutes long. That was the biggest feedback, so just shorter things, and then you can share them on social and other stuff, so.
I'm gonna be intrigued how that's gonna happen, like the planning board has like 18 articles or 6 articles and CPC has 6 and.
I think it really just, and we should let Esther talk at this time, but I think you just break down to one topic each.
Oh, okay, so you don't have to go through all of them, you got it, never mind.
They can sit there and rabble off all 18 at once, but in the editing room, that's where they would break them down to the smaller bite-sized pieces. But I'll let Esther talk. Sorry. It's her.
yeah, I'd really love to see it for this round. The last article was for the fire department. I think it would be great if the person or department that it affects is the one explaining it when possible. I like the idea of like just a casual go to the office and try to have them explain it like a human without putting too much thought into it. I don't know if that would help with like the ones that are just really short things. If you're talking like a human, like you would just say like, that's just about parking. I don't know. But yeah, we did that with the fire chief. We got one. Yeah, beta for that. Yeah, that's town meeting. Our stream went well. No major problems. Yay. I've been gearing up for the upgrade of the VHS auditorium to HD. Currently, we have it running SD. But yeah, now that we have Castus, it's a little easier to do that upgrade. I've been talking to other station managers more about the infrastructure that's hardwired. It's SDI, so it should be able to handle HD. So yeah. I've been going over our cybersecurity a little bit more and starting to think about how we can be more careful with that, especially as a town department. I realize if we're not sharp with our cybersecurity, people can use us to get into the town network. We're kind of a perfect target if someone's looking to hack into Belchertown. So yeah, started to think more about that. For channel 193, where we usually have weather, it's kind of cool. It's the one that we don't have in Castus, so we can experiment with it. I've been looking at digital signage solutions that can do like a weather widget in addition to playlists from YouTube, or I just figured out how to make a slide for the town calendar that shows you what meetings are this week and today. That would be great, but I'm also trying to not get too focused on that, because cable TV is only part of who we're supposed to serve. It's a hard balance. But I have also been thinking a little bit more about, in general, digital signage. We just got our TV connected that shows 191 all the time when we're in here, and it's been awesome. It's made me think that maybe we should put a TV like in town hall or start getting them in other places, because the bulletin board, personally, there's tons of good information in there that is nowhere else. And yeah, so that's another thought. Still doing a lot of videos. We're getting ready for winter nightlight. Halloween went well. I took a visit yesterday to Holyoke Media to go visit my long-term mentor, who's the station manager there. I hadn't been in, and it's really cool to see what they're doing. It's very different than other stations. And yeah, also thinking about policies and procedures. I've got copies of theirs to see how we can adapt with our old ones, with their new ones, with the library policies, to make something that's going to be ideal for us. Yeah, that's about it. I've also been looking more at external programming for our channels in terms of government, starting to pull in more state level stuff as well. That's been going up some. Yeah.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think those are all great initiatives. Interested to see if we got TV set up in town and different areas.
Clever.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Say that a little louder. Thoughts on that?
Sorry, the TVs throughout different buildings, I think is a great idea. I could see them in like, the police station, the waiting room there, or like the town hall near the bulletin board areas and stuff like that.
Or by the elevators.
Or even by the elevators, you're waiting for the elevator to come back down and you watch the bulletins come up from BCTV. I think it's a great idea.
It really is a good bulletin board. There's so many things on there.
Some towns have it available on the town webpage also. You click on, it's on the front of the page, on the home page.
Sure, we can highlight it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there isn't really something quite equivalent. That could be
No, that's a good point, because we're also looking at updating the bottom of the website. So we have like the town manager's blog on there now, but with having the newsletter, Steve's getting something out every month. And to not be redundant between the two places, it's kind of fallen by the wayside. So we're looking at bringing in the economic development onto the homepage right there to begin with.
It's great.
So people see it. But as we look at rebalancing that, maybe, also looking to tie in your cable channels too, where people can click to watch as well too, giving a refresh to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if there's way that we can expand the content, you know, have it live streaming to the homepage. But like maybe it's not always there, maybe like it's a small little icon and then you expand it out. Yeah, I think that's something that we could do.
Yeah,
We can do that with social streams, so it shouldn't be that hard to do.
Right.
Yeah, because we also pull a bunch of. First, I've realized in the last couple of months how amazing our senior center is. We have way more programming than any surrounding towns, and their newsletter is also great with resources, pointing people to things. So we've been doing more pulling from them directly, and making slides to add there that wouldn't be anywhere else.
Yeah, we shared their stuff on our events calendar too.
Mm-hmm. I left out one thing from my report, which was the website. Been putting a lot more work into what platform we're going to go on, whether we need a web developer or not. I interviewed someone to start, but yeah, that's the other thing in the works. So thinking about the ADA compliance too. Yeah, it's tough. It's really tough to think about a website right now when we don't know if our colors are going to rebrand.
Totally get that.
Yeah. I don't know how that's going to happen.
Bless you.
Okay. Pardon me. Oh. Sorry, I'll excuse myself in the next one. All right, any other questions, comments? Before I sneeze myself to death? But, okay.
Oh, can I just ask a quick question, Esther? When you say your website, do you mean the cloudcastus.tv URL? Like what is the BCTV website?
We don't have one. Currently,
Oh,
we've got a page on the town website, but eventually
Okay.
that's really the front door to a business now. I'm hoping it'll be able to like do contact forms and
Gotcha.
equipment lists and things like that.
We could build that content into the town website if that's what
You
you're
really
looking for.
can't with Civic Plus. You don't get the same robust tools and integrations, and like for example, just putting a video up, you can't pull in a YouTube playlist, or if you do, it's a little ugly looking and
Okay,
there's limitations.
fair enough.
Unless it's a module that they have separate that we have to get pricing on, like everything else.
That might be the case. I mean,
It may very well be the case.
I've pulled in YouTube stuff doing custom HTML on it. This is what I'm saying, is that like,
Custom
maybe
HTML,
require-
which
right, maybe
I can't do.
right, but if you're looking to hire a developer anyway,
Right.
you could save on hosting costs and website costs and everything else that goes into that, and just have somebody who can build those modules
Sure.
in Civic Plus.
Yes.
Kind of like how we're hiring Carl to make the community planning matrix an interactive. piece.
Right. So, yeah, I mean, I guess, get in touch with me. I can see if I can build something quick that as just like a demo. Like, what is your like VIP? You want to get a YouTube playlist on there. I'll see if I can quickly put it together with an HTML script, and if it works, then that's an option for you, right? Is all I'm saying.
I mean, what I want, if you want to look at the Brattleboro Community TV website, I want an exact replica of that if possible. It's got a million features. I did reach out to the web developer who made it to see if it would be a little cheaper if it was an exact replica. But
Brattleboro, Belchertown.
yes,
Close enough.
they're
Exactly.
also
Movies.
BCTV. It's so weird.
Oh yeah, we could just use that.
Okay, excellent. I'll take a look at that and see if I can pull some of that stuff together.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
We should meet up, talk about it.
Okay, cool. Anything else? No? Excellent. Then we need to deliberate next meeting time, which, as people noted last time, our next meeting is technically scheduled for Thanksgiving. And I don't think anybody wants to be here
I could be.
on Thanksgiving, other than Lou. So, if
December or in fact, or? in
Well,
November?
yeah, so we have some options. We can meet earlier, we can meet later, we can, skip it. But it sounds like we want to vote on some stuff before the next, select board meeting. We could also do a non-hybrid, only online meeting. That way everybody's at home, we don't need a meeting room. If it's just for votes and stuff like that, we can make it quick. We can pull a lot of the extra stuff off the agenda and just leave it to the major things that need to be discussed that week.
So when is the next select board meeting?
That is a great question.
Is it the 17th?
So if we can get that,
No, they're not meeting next week, the
It'll be
17th.
the 24th then?
It says the 17th on my calendar.
Is it? I'm double checking their
That's,
calendar right now.
that's this Monday.
Yeah, this Monday's the 17th, it's the one after that.
yeah, we're looking at
So
one after that, yeah.
it would be,
The first of
Presumably the
December?
1st of December.
yeah, but I don't think they meet the first.
I thought it was, isn't it the first and third weeks?
Is it the first and third or the second and fourth?
Well, if it was the 3rd and 17th, that's the first and third.
Yeah, I mean, my calendar
Yeah, so,
populates
yeah, the
from
first
what's on the
and third then.
website. So I think they meet on the 17th.
So December.
Yeah, we can't make the 17th meeting.
So it'll be the December 1 meeting that we'll worry about.
Okay, so we would want to meet before that, which means to get on their docket, we want to meet before the 26th,
Okay.
actually, because usually it's Thursday, but now we have to talk
But
Wednesday.
Wednesday, we're closing at noon.
Wednesday, 26th.
Yes.
Okay,
So we're meeting on Monday, the 24th?
well, we could do either doing the 24th or the 25th at the latest. I would honestly suggest we do it online from the comfort of our homes.
I think it's a great idea.
And we trim down the agenda to only the major events that need to be discussed.
Okay.
Anybody have any objection to doing it Monday?
No, Tuesday, I've got the school committee at 6 PM, so.
Okay.
Tuesdays are terrible for me, but if we're doing it at home, I'm sure I can figure it out.
But is Monday better?
Monday is always better.
It sounds like Monday, the 24th, on virtual meeting is the way to go.
Are you looking at 6:30?
I think we're gonna say 6:30 still.
6:30 at home.
Yep.
Do we need to have any bodies in the room? Is that still applicable?
No, we can do it all virtual.
Okay.
Yes, we just have to advertise it as an all virtual meeting
Okay.
for the agenda.
That'll be a go-to, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. You guys okay with that?
Yep.
Okay, excellent. Great, that's it.
Hopefully Ed can make that one. If not, hopefully we'll have those statements to him before then and
Right. Okay, with that,
Motion
we
to
need a
adjourn.
motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, it is, what is the clock? 8:33. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Esther.